Welcome to the Headless Chef on Channel 19. Today we're making meatballs. Special request by one of our viewers, Samantha. Thank you, Samantha, for sending in the suggestion on making meatballs. Today's a big day. We've got 3 different varieties we're going to make, 3 different flavors. Plain, with just nothing except the meat. Second flavor, well, let me go. The third flavor is going to be the everything meatball. It's going to have onions, garlic, salt, pepper, and the pan to cook the onions in is going to have butter on there. So this is going to have, that's the everything meatball. And I might even throw a little bit of this in there. Remember these little things? What do you call those things? They kind of taste like licorice. Yeah, we'll throw those in there. They're pretty good. Okay, so we have the plain, the everything meatball, and the other one's going to be plain as well, except we're going to throw a special ingredient in the second meatball. Green Vibrance. Who would put green Vibrance in a meatball recipe? Come on. Alrighty, well, here you're on the Headless. Thank you for watching the Headless Chef on Channel 19. Unconventional recipes you don't get on Channel 4. So we're going to try that today. Most of our meatballs are going to be the everything meatballs, because we're using the larger bowl for that. The Green Vibrance meatballs, we're putting in a medium bowl. And this is kind of the control group, the plain meatballs with nothing, just to see how they taste with nothing on them. Alrighty, well, we're going to start heating up the pan here. This is going to be where we're going to cook the meatballs. I probably don't need to heat that up yet. We still got to make our meatball recipe. But I will go ahead and start cooking up the onions before I mix the meatball stuff together. Alrighty, so this is a big moment here. For those of you that follow the Headless Chef, this is a big moment. This might be the first onion we've cut on the show. Here's our onion. It has a special name. I forget the name of this type of onion. But this is not just any ordinary onion. This is the nice one. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, first I'm going to trim off kind of the rough spots here. And you might be asking, are we going to put that whole onion in the meatball recipe? Well, I'm not sure yet. We're just kind of creating the recipe as we go, so we just kind of have to eyeball it. Let's go ahead and peel this stuff off here. Wash your hands one more time. Alrighty then. So yeah, we're on the onion portion of the show here. Getting that little layer on the outside off. You know this layer here, the onion layer that they talk about? The onion layer that everyone's talking about? They're probably yapping about it on Facebook right now. Did you hear about that onion layer? Yeah. Ooh, nice looking onion. Look at that thing. It's nice and shiny. Okay. So let's go ahead and heat up the onion pan. And as I mentioned, for the everything meatballs, we're going for maximum flavor. So we're going to put some butter in that pan. It's always fun to melt butter in a pan, right? Let me see how this one looks over here. Refrigerator's a little on the cold side. These are kind of frozen-ish. Okay. Yeah, so it's always kind of fun to melt the butter in the pan. These are a few of my favorite things. Melting butter. Remember that movie? I don't think that was one of the things though, was it? No, melting butter was not one of the favorite things. I might need a little more than that. For the everything meatballs. We've got a little special treat for you at the end of the video here. When we consume the meatballs, we'll reveal that at the end of the video. Okay, so for the meatball pan, we're going to use avocado oil for that one. When we start heating it up, we'll have some nice protective coating down there. Okay. Question is, will I need any eye protection when I cut this onion? I'm not sure. Let's see how it goes. Well, if the headless chef had eyes, he might need eye protection while chopping this onion. Fortunately, that's not really an issue. I think that should probably be good enough for the everything meatball in terms of onions. We don't have to use that whole thing. Let's start with this amount. Oh, you want to see the onion chopping? Understandable. Most people would prefer, on a viewer poll on the Headless Chef on Channel 19, 98% of our viewers preferred viewing the chopping than not viewing the chopping. So let's kind of move this over a little bit. See if we can get this in the video at all. Okay, well you can see a portion of it. Do the old cross chop. Yeah, so the butter's melted in the pan already. We don't want these chunks too big. Gotta make sure our meatballs. By the way, this is the first time we've made the meatball recipes, so we are at risk of the meatballs breaking apart right here in the Headless Chef Channel 19 atmosphere. Okay, so might be able to go for one more little wedge. We'll save this portion for later. so we're going to make 3 flavors: plain, green Vibrance, and the everything meatball. Yeah. If you're wondering how the meatballs turn out, we're going to be revealing that at the end of the video. This might take a little bit. If you're in a hurry, you might want to check out the other videos that are a little bit shorter. This one might take a while. Oh, by the way, we're going to use 3 1-pound packets of this bison to make a good amount of meatballs. Most of it's going to be the everything meatball. I think those will probably be better than the other ones. Just a theory. But we're kind of diversifying our portfolio a little bit just to alleviate a little bit of risk in our meatball creation here. Yeah, so thanks again to Samantha. Shout out to Samantha. Thanks for the idea on the meatball recipe. If anybody has any other ideas on recipes you'd like to see on the Headless Chef, please put them down in the comments below. Or you can email them to headlesschef19@gmail.com. Perhaps you have a recipe card or some video you want to submit. Like Layla, one of our viewers that submitted a couple of videos. She has her own little chef outfit that's really cute. And then she also had the milkshake video. So yeah, the onions are looking pretty good already. Alrighty, so here's the second pound. We're going to put this whole thing in the big bowl, the first 2 pounds. And since I'm going to go ahead and start making the everything meatballs, and I've been touching a few things, I'm going to wash my hands again here before the meatball creation portion of the show. Oh yeah, I forgot one of the ingredients. We're going to use an egg as well. This is one of the Hunter Green non-GMO Vital Farm eggs. If you saw the other video where we went on our shopping trip to Whole Foods and picked up our supplements. We also picked up some eggs on that trip. Oh, this is going to be fun. Look at this. I'm just going to add the ingredients in a little bit more before I start mixing them up. I'm going to throw some pepper in here. We're going to throw a little bit of garlic powder in here. If it's not too hard to open, we'll put some in there. You ever get one of those packages that's like impossible to open? This one's not too bad, but every once in a while it's like, who designed that package? Oh yeah, we'll just put some of that in there. We're going to put some salt in there. course, rinsing's on this one. Okay, let's see what else do we want to put in there before we start mixing this up. Onions are still kind of going here. I think we're going to let them cook a little further. They're looking pretty good though. I don't know if you can see that in there. They kind of look like this. Okay, so let's go ahead and mix this up. We have 2 pounds of bison, salt, pepper, garlic powder, an egg, and then once we have this all mixed up, I'm going to go ahead and pour in the onions. How's that sound? Oh, this is awesome. This is really a lot of fun, actually. Got to get the yolk in there. We don't want to have one meatball that's like, oh, there's the egg. You got to mix that thing in so you can't really taste it in one of the meatballs. We could probably put like 3 or 4 eggs in here. But let's just try one this time around. It's kind of a nice little texture, adds a nice little texture to it, having the egg in there. Oh yeah, that's looking good. Or as my friend Enrique used to say, it's looking real good. All right. We're just gonna say the onions are ready. Whatever level they're at, that's where they're at, right? We gotta get this show on the road. We can't stay here all week cooking onions. Oh, looking pretty nice. Got the butter in there. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna make plain meatballs. This is the everything meatball we're mixing up right now. And just for fun tonight, we're gonna make the green Vibrance meatballs as well. We had a vote on that and we came up tied on the votes. Who wanted the green Vibrance and who didn't. So we're gonna make both of them. Okay, let's go ahead and mix in the onions. Nice and warm. Let's go ahead and add some of these, the fennel seeds. These give it like a little bit of chunkiness. So every once in a while you run into a bigger piece of spice and you'll be like, wow. And now that they're mixed up, I'm gonna add some more pepper too. As well as some more salt. That should be an ample amount of flavor in the everything meatballs. Go ahead and mix her on in here and see how it looks. So yeah, in summary, this is the everything meatball. This one has onions, salt, pepper, garlic, fennel seeds, as well as the onions were cooked in Kerrygold butter that actually has salt in it too. So there should be some flavor in these meatballs. And if you're wondering, you know, I wonder why he's doing that when he's making the meatballs. It's because I've never made meatballs before. This is a special request from Samantha, one of our viewers. Okay, this is starting to feel pretty malleable. Like maybe I could, hey, let's go ahead and start heating up the pan for the meatballs while we form the meatballs here. Oh yeah, these look pretty good. I have to make them make sure they cook, so I don't want to make them too unruly here. But this feels like they're sticking together pretty well. Hopefully it doesn't turn out like a hamburger patty by the time I set it down there. We're going to make varying sizes as well, just to test it out. The smaller ones should be easy to cook. Give us something to test a little sooner. And then, of course, the larger meatballs will be rare, a little more rare in the middle. Unless we keep cooking them. So yeah, I encourage you when you do your cooking, test several varieties. Why not? You're in the middle of preparing it anyway. You're watching The Headless Chef on Channel 19. Today we're making meatballs. Special request by one of the viewers here on Channel 19. Stay tuned to the end of the show when we'll have various links to meatball resources on the internet. You may need to send an email to the Headless Chef at Channel 19, headlesschef19@gmail.com to get the special meatball links. If they don't show up on the screen. Go ahead and leave some comments down below. How do you make your meatballs? What ingredients do you use? Are you offended by green Vibrance meatballs? Are you okay with that? Are you offended by onions and garlic in meatballs? If so, why? And most importantly, what are your favorite meatballs? And of course, we're playing Name That Tune in the background. I'll be changing the song here momentarily, so go ahead and try to take a guess. If it's not in the show notes already. I believe we featured this song on a different video. If anybody can name the other video we played this song on, you get extra Headless Chef bonus points. So far, Stephanie's the only one that has Headless Chef bonus points. Alrighty, here we go. This is going to be an exciting portion of the show here. We're going to call this the attack of the meatballs. And this thing might be a little bit on the warm side already, so it could like splatter all over. But as I said earlier, we've got to get this show on the road. We can't just lollygag here all night, so to speak. Here's the meatballs, folks. Varying sizes. Hopefully they stay together okay. How do they look from your view? Pretty good? Here's the other side. So far, we have about a dozen here. Varying sizes. Let's see how the pan is, if it's too hot or not. I'm just going to dump them all in there, but I'm going to try to keep it somewhat organized. Okay, well, we're running into our first challenge here on the Headless Chef on Channel 19 as we make meatballs. We're running out of room in the pan. Drama. Oh no! What's he going to do? Where is he going to put the last meatball? Okay, they all fit in there, but there's not going to be a lot of room for flipping things around. Let's go ahead and let this heat up for a little bit. Alrighty then. What we're going to do now, while that's cooking up, our first 2 pounds of everything meatballs, we're going to open the other 1 pound package of bison to make the green Vibrance and the plain meatballs. This might be one of the most exciting nights of your whole life. Right here on the Headless Chef on Channel 19. 4 or 5 years from now, you might be saying, remember that night we watched the meatball recipe on the Headless Chef? That was amazing. And then you'll be like, my favorite meatball was X. Because we made it later. But I will reveal my favorite meatball tonight, because I'm going to have all 3. All 3 flavors, that is. Okay, here's this is going to be the green Vibrance meatball. And I'm going to use most of the bison for the green Vibrance. And the other portion, I'll just make a couple of plain meatballs for the control group, as they say in science. Do you remember what the control group is? When you're doing an experiment, you like to have something you can compare it to. So this one's going to have no ingredients, no salt, no pepper, no garlic, no onions, no butter, no fennel seeds, nothing. Just plain old bison. like we have enough. Oh yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, there's no egg in here, anything. This is just plain bison for the plain flavor. Okay, now in the other one, we're only going to put green Vibrance. This has never been attempted before. Please do not attempt this at home. We're not sure what happens when you mix green Vibrance with bison and put it over heat. So please do not perform this at home until we complete this tonight, just to see what happens. Okay, awesome. Changing the song for the name of that tune. Okay, the question is, we're going to have about 4 meatballs here. How many scoops of green Vibrance would you like? Ooh, these are starting to look pretty good already. I want the flavor to be noticeably green Vibrance. So we're going to, that's 1 scoop. This is 2 scoops. If anything, we want to exaggerate the flavor of the green Vibrance. 3 scoops. That should be about good enough. I don't know if I can mix any more than that in there. But we'll put 1 more scoop just in case. Okay, before we do this, let's see if we can move these meatballs around at all. It's a little tricky in here with no room. Maybe I'll employ the fork technique. If you're not sure what the fork technique is, look it up on Google. The fork technique, space meatballs. And you should find something of interest. Ooh, this is looking pretty good. It's looking really good. The meatballs are staying together. That's good news. So let's at least get the other side. It's a really nice song. I like this song. It's very pleasant. And yeah, this is a little known song from the 80s. Very few people know of this song. If we're lucky enough, it'll show it in the show notes. This song is so, I won't say it's unpopular, but it's so little known, underrated, that I'm just going to tell you the name of the song. The name of the song is called Pure by the Lightning Seeds. And it's just a really pleasant song. It's like kind of relaxing. Okay, the meatballs are starting to get cooked here. You can see them browning. We have it sort of the heat's on sort of medium heat. We're going for this sort of a slower cook technique. Now we're ready to mix the green Vibrance into the other. Here's our plain meatballs here, the control group. And we're going to start mixing the green Vibrance in. And this could get pretty messy, folks. Warning, anybody, if you have anybody under 13 years old at home, you might not want to show them this footage. Because we're going to be mixing the green Vibrance with the bison. Just these two ingredients. Okay, warning, here it comes. Ew! Smells good. I don't know, this might be the best one. We won't know until we taste it. Certainly going to have extra nutrients in there. Immune system builders, probiotics. All kinds of stuff in there. Yeah, this is starting to look pretty good, I think. Despite against all odds, this might actually work. Yeah, so it's sort of looking like a seaweed meatball, which, you know, a lot of people like seaweed meatballs. Once again, if you Google favorability of seaweed meatballs, you'll probably see some polls on there with how many people like seaweed meatballs. Oh yeah, so this is looking pretty good. I think it's pretty well mixed in there at this point. So let's go ahead and make our green Vibrance meatballs here. Take a peek over here. Ooh, looking good. I'm not going to really flip the meatballs anymore. I'm just going to kind of move them around a little. Just to let them know they're being moved around. Oh yeah. This is awesome. Huh. I might have to pull one of these out pretty soon while it's still not fully cooked. Just to kind of, here's one right here. One of the smaller ones that's cooked already. Let's put it in here with the plain ones, making sure not to touch the plain meatballs. And here's another bowl we can put it in. And then a couple other ones look like they might be getting near completion. If you like your meatballs medium rare, so yeah, the rest of the meatballs here, this is the everything meatball. I'm just gonna let this cook a little bit longer, and we're gonna call it good here. I'll probably cut one of them open here in a minute just to see how they're looking. Smells good. They smell fantastic. See how this one looks in the middle. Oh, look at that. getting near done, but I'm gonna let it cook a little further here. Put the lid back on. Let this simmer for a couple minutes. Alrighty then. This could set a record for the longest headless chef video. Oh my goodness. We're up to 41 minutes. We'll probably be over an hour on this episode. Thank you for your patience if you're tuning in today to watch The Headless Chef on Channel 19 as we make 3 flavors of meatballs: plain, green Vibrance, and the everything meatball. The everything meatball has salt, pepper, fennel seeds, garlic, butter, onions, and an egg. The green Vibrance meatball only has bison and green Vibrance. You can find this on Amazon or you can find it at Whole Foods. After we taste the meatballs, I'll tell you if you should try them. This is really fun. If you like messing around in the kitchen, I encourage you to make some meatballs sometime. And like I mentioned, we have a special surprise at the end of the show to present how we're going to eat the meatballs. Alrighty, well, I think what we'll do on the plain meatballs, we're going to cook it in its own little pan here, so it doesn't get any butter or anything. We will put a little bit of avocado oil in there since it has kind of less flavor than other cooking oils like butter or coconut oil. Here's our sample for the everything meatballs, waiting patiently for our taste test. The rest of the everything meatballs look like they're about done here. And they're smelling really good too. Let's go and put them on a presentation platter. Give them one more little toss here. A little toss and squeeze, as they say. Honey, what are you doing in the kitchen? Sounds like you're tossing and squeezing. That was just a little side interjection. Oh yeah, they're firming up nicely. And then plus the one that I cut in half, that one's might be just as good for the taste test because it's nice and warm still. So that one's 2 pieces now. Once again, here we are on one of the action portions of the show. A lot of action here in the kitchen tonight. We've got meatballs flying all over the place. You're not going to find this in a James Bond movie. Oh, oh my goodness! Catastrophic meatball drop. Yeah, so they're looking pretty good. We've got our little display platter here. And I'm just going to pour all the juice right on top of them. After all, they earned it. I'll put a little bit on top of the other ones that I was going to sample. Keep them nice and warm. Okay, the other pan's warm enough to start our plain meatballs. And for this one, I'm going to just give the pan a quick rinse. I don't want any flavor in there on the... I don't want too much flavor in there at all on the green meatballs, the green Vibrance ones. We had a little incident here, got some juice that got away here. Okay, here we go. Putting the plain meatballs in over here. This is the miniature pot over here. And now we're going to add the green Vibrance meatballs here. Just avocado oil, so we don't mess up the flavor too much. Here's our collection of green Vibrance meatballs, bison and green Vibrance, the only two ingredients. This ought to be pretty interesting. Thanks for tuning in for our meatball experiment tonight on the Headless Chef on Channel 19. I'm cooking the plain meatballs over here. This one's getting a little bit warm over here. I don't know if you can see that stuff shooting up. Kind of exciting. It's like a chemistry experiment. Alrighty. I'm going to go ahead and start the taste testing here. We need to have a little bit of criteria on the testing. Let's go with flavor, texture, and overall rating. Okay, so this is the everything meatball. It's still warm because it's got the juice in there. Oh man, that's really good. I think we're on to something here. Oh, this is great. I think we just had a flicker in the power. The meatballs were that good, it flickered the power. Mmm. Okay, I don't want to eat too much because I don't want to get full with the meatballs. Flavor? Nine. Texture? Nine. Overall score for the everything meatball is a 9. In taste, if I had to describe the flavor, it's more prominent in the garlic and onions, but you can also taste the fennel seed and the salt and pepper. It's kind of a nice explosion. Didn't really notice the egg, but it might have a little bit of egg quality, I guess. Oh, these green Vibrance meatballs are looking real nice too. They're looking real green and vibrant, as one might expect. They kind of look like Brussels sprouts. If you want your meatballs to look like Brussels sprouts, definitely use the green Vibrance. If you want to try to trick somebody that you're having some greens instead of some bison, this is a good way to go. Alrighty, time for another song over here. How about this one? How about this one? This is an 80s song here. See if anyone can name this one, if it's not in the show notes. Okay, so this plain meatball looks like it's getting almost ready for the taste test. Looks like the green Vibrant ones might be last on the taste test, which will be good to kind of clear out the palate a little bit. Cleanse the palate like you're at a wine tasting party. Or like when you go out to sushi and you have to have a little piece of ginger before your next bite. Kind of clean out your mouth. I think these are about done. I'm just going to put the lid on there and let them kind of simmer over here on a stainless steel surface. Let me get a new fork. These everything meatballs are looking really nice. They've got chunks of onions sticking out, so you can definitely tell there's something going on there. Let me go ahead and take one of these pieces of the plain meatball right out of the pan here. Okay, let me go ahead and rinse out my mouth a little bit before I taste this one. I want this to be about the same temperature as the other one, which was a little bit cooled off. This one's looking really plain. As you can see, this is just a nice bite of a plain meatball. No spices, nothing, just bison. Still looks pretty good, right? Give it 5 more seconds of cooling. Interesting. Huh. Okay. Tabulating our scores on the plain meatball here. Awaiting the judge. Flavor, 5. Texture, 7. Total score for the plain meatballs is a 6. So far, the everything meatball is winning 9-6 over the plain meatball. Now we're ready for our green Vibrance meatball. The portion of the show you've all been waiting for. Get a new utensil here. Here's our sample green Vibrance meatball. You see how it looks sort of like a Brussels sprout? You could have these on St. Patrick's Day. Just keep the green Vibrance in mind for St. Patrick's Day for all of your cooking needs, including cookies, oatmeal, meatballs, and smoothies. Alrighty, so we're letting it cool here for a moment so it matches the same temperature as the other ones. And I'm still hungry, so that's good. This is a big moment in the history of the world. The battery's getting low. Hopefully it didn't mess anything up over here. Still recording. Let this cool for another moment. So far the score is everything meatball 9, plain meatball 6. This is bison. For those of you just turning in, this is bison versus regular beef. Got this bison at Whole Foods, but they sell the same brand at Costco. Okay, here we go. Ready to try the green Vibrance meatball. Okay. Flavor of the green Vibrance meatball. The score for the flavor on the Green Vibrance meatball is a 4. Our lowest score yet. Texture gets a 6. So the average score on the Green Vibrance is a 5. We have our winner, first place, the Everything Meatball. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Here's the Everything Meatball. Is the winner in the competition. You can see the onions right there. The proud winner of the meatball competition, coming in at a score of 9 versus the plain meatball at 6 and the Green Vibrance meatball at 5. Boy, that was pretty interesting and exciting. Alrighty. Oh, and our special presentation tip at the end of the video here. For those of you that are still hanging out, we appreciate you hanging out to the end. Thanks for watching The Headless Chef on Channel 19 as we make 3 flavors of meatballs. We're going to make a stuffed avocado. We could leave the wrapper on there, I guess, the skin. So since the Everything Meatball was the winner, again the ingredients: salt, pepper, fennel seed, onions cooked in butter, an egg, and that's about it. Really nice flavor. Let's go ahead and pick one of our Everything Meatballs for the presentation of the stuffed avocado portion of the show. So there you have it. There's the stuffed avocado. You simply place the meatball in the middle of the avocado like the pit. Thanks for tuning in to Headless Chef today as we made 3 flavors of meatball. Plain, which had a score of 5. No, actually, the Green Vibrance had the score of 5. Plain had the score of 6, and the Everything Meatball had a score of 9. So we had a clear winner in the meatball competition. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Samantha for the meatball idea. Any other comments on other ideas, please leave them down below. This is the Headless Chef on Channel 19 signing out.